Welcome, everyone, to our workshop. I'm so pleased to have Eve Whitaker here with us. I was just bragging on her that she is one of my favorite marketing mavens who happens to also be an AI whiz. She's going to talk to us a little bit about using AI, leveraging AI to become better, more efficient, and effective marketers. We're going to be talking specifically about creating ideal customer avatars. Great to have you all with us. And I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to you, Eve. Welcome to the group and take it away.
Awesome. Well, happy to be here. Thanks for asking me to come on, Scott. You're one of my favorite people, so I love it. Do I have the ability to share my screen? Because I'm going to share my screen.
I'm going to give you the ability because I trust you.
Okay.
There you go.
Beautiful. So I have just a quick slide thing that I will kind of walk you guys through. And then if somebody wants to volunteer, I'm going to take you guys then into ChatGPT and show you what I'm going to kind of go over at first and show you how it works and kind of wrap it up with what to do next. I will give you these prompts. So that way, if you guys want to take notes, you can take notes. I know I like to take notes, but I also like to listen. So I don't want you guys having to scribble down. I try not to gatekeep anything, and I'm happy to answer any questions when I'm done. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. So I usually ask beforehand how much people have experience using AI, but I'm just going to assume lowest common denominator. So that I'm going to be speaking to the person that's never used it. But even if you are a pro in it, I think you'll still get some use out of this. So I really believe that AI is going to save you time, money, and provide more value for your business. My background is actually in television production. I worked in entertainment for 25 years. And within that producing television, as I went up the ladder and became an executive producer, I did a lot more with marketing. And about 3 years ago, I was working on a show that covered trends, and that's how I got introduced into AI. So as AI was kind of rolling out in what I call the second wave of AI has been around since the 1950s, but in the wave of like AI being available readily and easily to us, the common person, it happened about 3 years ago. And so that is how I got involved with AI. And I tell people I play with AI like a child plays with a toy. I have no expectations. I just play with it. And then that's how I kind of learned it. I was self-taught. And then I kind of started going down rabbit holes, taking master classes like this. So will AI take over the world? What I say to this is the threat is real. And I say the threat is real because it's not going to take over the world like I think a lot of people feel with robots and stuff like that. With any revolution, there has always been a loss of job, a gain of jobs. It just changes. And I think the most important thing that I say today with people that are concerned with AI, it's not going anywhere. And I remember I was in college when really the internet blew up and email. And so I say that where AI is right now is about where the internet was in 1996. So people had it in their homes. It was no longer unknown and, to the select few, but it is still, we are still very much at the beginning of it. And these are some quotes that I pulled actually a couple years ago, but I think that it's important to kind of look of the Google CEO said it's more profound than fire. I find that to be a very striking quote. AI could help you make better decisions than you could yourself. That I'm going to go over a little bit today. I absolutely believe that is true. There, in fact, in the last week has been some advancements with the $20 paid subscription of ChatGPT that lets you research and do analytics in a way that was only available to those that had the $200 subscription. So I say AI is at its worst today. It will be better tomorrow. It will be better the next day. And then one of my favorite people, Mark Cuban, if you don't know AI, you're going to fail, period, end of story. I don't necessarily think that's completely true, but I do think that you will get behind. So a little background on me, I won't go into this very much. I already kind of said that I used to produce television, all sorts of television. and got into AI and business. I started my own company where I do agency work for a select few clients, and then I spend the rest of my time on the interwebs like this, teaching people how to use AI because I really enjoy it. One of my favorite mentors, Jonathan Mast, I shout him out all the time. He's one of the best teachers of AI. He's one of my clients now, which is amazing. Um, uh, he's the one that came up with this, and I like to give him the credit because the first time I was presenting on AI, I had a conversation with him, and he said it so succinct, is that AI is going to save you time, it's going to save you money, and it's going to allow you to provide more value to your clients or customers. And I believe that to be true. And then this is just, again, talking to the person that might not know anything about AI. I do like to say it has been around since the 50s. Obviously, these examples are way past the 50s, but we've been using AI for a long time. You just might have not known it with all the digital voice assistants, Siri, Alexa, text editors, autocorrect is AI, Face ID, social media, the algorithm, a lot of how we do marketing, that is AI, maps and navigation, streaming services, chatbots, banking, e-payments, stuff like that. So it's more, again, like I said, in the last few years is when ChatGPT became available, and a lot of the image generating AI that you can pay for $20 for a subscription, and very powerful tools. And so I like to say that AI plus you equals superhuman. If you imagine having a superpower that could handle 70% of your marketing tasks quickly and accurately, that's what AI can do. I now have partners because my agency has grown so quickly, but I operated it with one person for a year and a half, one other person, and we were able to bring in substantial income and being able to do that without a team because of AI. And it still blows my mind what AI can do. And so why we're here is content creation. And so the ICA, and I get into this, is before we get into ICA, there's the 4 crucial steps. And this is just, to me, the foundation of marketing. And I like to do a little bit of how the sausage is made so you understand, just to give more context around everything I'm going to show you. And so it's really important to know your customer or your audience, know what they want, be able to provide value to them, and then this builds trust. And I find with, I would say a good 80% of the people that I work with for the first time, they do this all wrong. And they're always embarrassed by that. And I say, you're not a marketing person. I love whoever said this. I don't know, Scott, it was probably in one of the masterminds we're in together, but you can't read the label from inside the bottle. So this is 25 years of storytelling. A lot of marketing is storytelling, of working in LA and Hollywood and working on scripts and with other people, that it all follows the same format. But that first step, the one that we're going to go over today in depth, is the know your customer, the ICA. And part of doing that is, in television, we would always talk about the demographics, and whatever the show I worked on, who's your demographics? I'm sure you guys have heard that if you have a business, or if you're an author, who's your demographic, right? And the thing with who's the demographics of whoever your customer is, where the ICA, the ideal customer avatar, goes deeper, is getting into what is called the psychographics. And it goes into more of the in-depth, like I say, demographics is the skeleton. And then the ICA is going to build everything else and put the skin on and the hair and the details and all that stuff. And the example that I give with this is if I just gave it away. Well, we'll pretend you didn't see that. So here is the demographic, but I didn't blow the whole thing, right? So you know your customer, right? And just throwing this out: male, born in 1948, raised in the UK, married twice, lives in a castle, wealthy and famous. And as I had showed you before, we're talking about King Charles here. So those are his demographics, right? But who else has those demographics? Ozzy Osbourne. same exact demographics as King Charles. You are not going to talk to King Charles the same way you would talk to Ozzy Osbourne, right? And I also say, just to give it a female perspective, same thing if I was talking about Kate Middleton, she has the exact same demographics on paper as Kim Kardashian. Same. So it's important to really begin to know your ICA and getting into more of those behavioral graphics and psychographics that we're going to go over with the ICA. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to take you through the first prompt, and then I'm going to cut and paste it and put it into ChatGPT to show you how it works. So going to go back to share the screen. Who wants to volunteer that can speak and give me like a very succinct description of their business? I will pick on someone if no one raises their hand, or we'll just do Scott. Anyone? Jeff, you smile. Do you want to do it?
I volunteer, Jeff. How about that?
There you go.
Okay. All right. So I will ask you questions and you can just answer them. So,
Okay.
So the first prompt, and I have this down, and what we're going to do is we are going to fill in where it is yellow, but I'm going to go over the prompt first. So as a marketing specialist, whenever we prompt ChatGPT or any learned language model, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, we give it a role. Your task is to create an ideal customer profile for, Jeff, what's your business?
Special event tastings of fine spirits. I do whiskey tastings.
Okay, so are you a consultant? What do you put together the events? You're an event.
I do. I host the events.
You do what?
I host the events. I bring
Okay.
all of the, I bring the liquor, I bring the glasses, I bring the special information that is needed, and I host the event.
Okay, so you specialize in working with whiskey?
Correct.
Working with whiskey, and ignore my horrible spelling, but we'll go through it. And who are your what's your target audience?
My target audience is anyone who wants to know more about the taste of whiskey beyond the burn of the alcohol.
Okay, that's good. Let's see. I'm gonna just delete this. The service offering includes, describe an event.
An event includes tasting 3 different whiskeys, going through the history and the different tastes of the whiskey and comparing and contrasting them.
And answering probably any questions people have.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, the resources focus on, I think that's all we need. Okay. Okay, your profile should be detailed using a combination of demographics, psychographics, and behavioral data to identify the target market, their interests, and their yearly income. Please provide a clear and concise response that highlights the key characteristics of the ideal customer. Focus on delivering the detailed of this. And then it goes over their age, their gender, their location, all this stuff. And then I ask it, What is, and again, this is interesting with a whiskey thing, but we're going to get into like the pain points, because when you're marketing, you want to market towards the why would your customer not do this, right? And that's how you begin to convert them into paid clients or customers. So what keeps them up at night? What are they scared this problem says about them? What do they avoid because it triggers too much fear or anxiety? What keeps them in this worst case scenario? Where will they feel powerless if they don't succeed in reaching a state of clarity? I'm going to put, to be specific, about whiskey. What difference would working with, what's your business called?
The Whiskey Whisperer.
Ooh, I like that. Whisperer, is that right? Whisper.
Yep.
Making reaching their goals, and what would make it easier then for not to feel about working with me. So, okay, so I'm literally just going to take this. I'm going to cut it, and I'm just going to throw it into ChatGPT. Let's go back up, make sure we got it as a marketing specialist. Yep. Now, this is the one part, this first prompt is where when I go over this with a potential client or someone that's doing this, is sometimes AI is not correct. Or you know your business more than the generic profile that we're beginning to set up with this. So if there's anything in this that's not correct, we will change it. Now, I'm not going to go over all of it in depth because I would need an hour, but I'm just going to show you. And then if you guys do this without, when I give you the prompts, if there's anything in here, let's say the demographic age 30 to 55. Jeff, is that about correct, or would you say it's older, younger? What would you?
No, 30 to 55 is okay. It's really more 30 to 65, but that's okay.
Okay, so what I would do then, and I won't do it now, but I would just say, hey, this looks great. Let me make some corrections. The age is actually closer to 30 to 65, predominantly male, but there is a growing interest in women. Professionals in finance, law, tech, entrepreneurship, executives, business owners, concierge, of fine experiences, or individuals in high-stress careers who like to seek refined leisure activities. Does that sound about right?
Yes, absolutely.
It gives the location.
I hope you'll send this to me when you're done.
I will absolutely. I'll put it in the chat so everyone can have it. Or I'll give it to Scott and he can decide. He's the gatekeeper. So then it goes into the psychographics and behavioral data. So it says they fear, and this is, again, this, to get this, it's interesting because this is what will then help you write content, right? So it's saying the core fear, concern, they fear being perceived as uninformed or amateurish in social settings that involve whiskey. Makes sense. That's why I would go to a whiskey whisperer. Worrying about missing out on rich cultural and historical experiences tied to whiskey. Self-perception fear, avoidance behavior. They avoid ordering whiskey in professional or social settings because they might not know how to discuss it. Refrain from attending high-end whiskey events, worst case scenario, powerlessness, and it's just going to go on and on, right? It's going to give us a nice just thing, right? So then I'm going to go to the next prompt, going back to my thing. I'm now going to say, please create a customer avatar. So that was a profile. Now we're going to do avatar on this ICA or persona or description of the perfect client for the business above, what they like, how they behave, loyalty to your brand, and how they conduct business with you. So this is what we call prompt chaining. So we're training the AI. So this is in one thread, one chat, right? So because I opened up this chat, ChatGPT is going to remember and learn everything I'm doing here. So it made up James Thornton, age 42, male, made him a senior executive in finance, his income. It's going to go over, like I said, his behavioral traits, his consumer habits. Loyalty to the Whiskey Whisperer brand. Once he experiences a whiskey tasting event that aligns with his desire for knowledge and sophistication, he becomes a repeat attendee. He enjoys the structure yet relaxed learning experience and the opportunity to connect with like-minded professionals. How he conducts business with you, goes into the psychological profile and his emotional triggers, why he chooses you, education and prestige, social status and sophistication, exclusive and premium, memorable experience, what keeps him coming back. It gives the marketing takeaways, how to reach James. And just to give you guys an idea, when I was right out of grad school in 2002, I started a brand strategy company with 2 other people. It would take us 2 weeks of research to do this. We would get a client and it would take us literally 2 weeks to do this, right? It's going to happen in less than a half hour. Marketing takeaways, positioning, it's giving you advice how to reach James, the messaging, use language that speaks to refinement, sophistication, exclusivity, content strategy, sales and customer journey, and final thought. All right, we have a couple more prompts. So then I say, please give me some of the target audience's pain points regarding using or hiring your product. Include the exact words and phrases they are likely to use to describe these concerns. Pain points in any good story is the challenge. If we can overcome the pain points and address them and get ahead of them, we build trust. And it kind of talked about these before. So fear of looking uninformed or out of place, intimidation by the complexity of the whiskey, lack of trust in the value of a tasting event, concern about the social atmosphere. Will this be exclusive, intimate event, or will I get stuck in a crowded bar with strangers? I don't want to feel awkward. All this stuff when I work with a client is once we establish our 10 or 12 pain points, part of my foundation is we tackle a pain point a month and develop marketing material around that pain point. Hesitation, overcommitment and follow through, budget, and then the key takeaways, how to address these concerns, make it accessible and approachable. Highlight that the Whiskey Whisperer is for all levels, from beginners to connoisseurs with no judgment. Emphasize the unique experience. Position it as a social or networking event. Reassure about the atmosphere. Make it clear that the event is designed for intimate, enjoyable conversations rather than an overwhelming crowd, and justify the cost. And that's where social proof, showcase testimonials, exclusive whiskey selections, and expert insights that attendees wouldn't get anywhere else. All right, one last one. I might even skip because I want to show how you could turn this really quick. How am I doing on time, Scott? 5 more minutes?
I lost my, yeah. Well, I would say 5 to 10 minutes, Eve.
Okay, no, that's great, because I would love to just take this one level further than I normally go, because it's to show you how you can start creating content with something that we learned from our good friend Nick Peterson with the 4 A's, the actionable, all that stuff, because it's just interesting. So I'm just going to skip these next 2 prompts. Again, it's just giving the AI more information. I will give them to you. It's no big deal. But then it says, okay, so let's, using the pain points as engaging hooks and goals or dreams as promise of value, brainstorm a list of compelling content topics that resonate with the audience. Literally, if you didn't have this, I tell people, if you want, after this point, you could ask ChatGPT to write you a 3-part email sequence. You could ask it to write you a LinkedIn blog. There's so many things that you can do after you get your ICA, but I'm just going to take it because I love showing content, because most people that are marketing on social media in some form or fashion. And so content seems to be something that we can all do. So addressing the key pain points. So now overcoming fear of looking uninformed. The whiskey confidence blueprint, how to order like a pro without feeling like a fraud. Whiskey 101, the simple way to sound like an expert, even if you're just getting started. The 3 biggest whiskey mistakes that make you look like an amateur and how to avoid them. So it's just giving you ideas of different ways that you can produce content, right? So creating unforgettable social experience. So it's taking each pain point. So this was one about looking uninformed, demystifying the complexity of whiskey. Beyond the burn. I love that because you said that earlier. How to actually taste whiskey and enjoy every sip. Single malt versus blended versus bourbon. What's the difference and which one is right for you? So it's just giving you all these different ideas of what you could put. These are called hooks. This is what we grab on the attention, right? How we get the person who's looking at either the video or the text, the copy that we're writing, to continue to read on. So it went through a bunch of the pain points, right? So now this is the bonus that I wasn't going to do, but because most of you kept your cameras on, nothing against people that couldn't, I'm going to give you these next 2 because I think this is so cool. So this is a very basic framework. I pulled this from Laurel Portier, who is also in Scott and I's world, but she pulled this from someone else, right? But this is actually some of her language of how you would put together content. So it's the hook, the promise of value, what you're going to give them. And then we're going to have the AI figure out what their objection, the false belief, and the story that they tell themselves because of that false belief. And again, I'm just going to go this really quickly because the coolness is in the next prompt. So this is just to kind of get good old ChatGPT understanding what the next prompt is going to be. So it's looking at the hook. Ever panicked when ordering whiskey because you don't know what to ask for? I'll give you a simple blueprint. Let's try. Sometimes the good old ChatGPT crops out. So, okay, ever felt lost when trying to order whiskey at a fancy bar? By the end of this guide, you'll know exactly how to order whiskey with confidence without feeling out of place. This is what they believe. I'll just stick to what I know. I don't want to risk looking dumb. The false belief is that people will judge them. The story they tell themselves is I always order the same thing because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of my colleagues. It's safer to stick to something I know. So it's going to give a bunch of those. So why it's doing that, I'm going to go over to what our good friend Nick Peterson taught us, and I love this. So one of the cool things of when we're doing content is A/B testing, right? People are going to hear things different ways. We're all different. And he broke it down into what I call the 4 A's: the analytical, aspirational, actionable, and anthropological. And this is just simply how people are going to gravitate or what's going to hook them. So if you're analytical, you might want something that says something that gives you a statistic, right? Actionable. I'm going to paste this and to keep it because I think it makes more sense when we actually put it into the whiskey. And if you did this before giving the ICA, it would not know what to do, right? It would not give you the same output as it's going to give us right now because it doesn't know who your ICA is. So you could give it these prompts and talk about this stuff, but it needs to build and learn to get this correct. So, and this again, this is going to produce 4 pieces of content. Each of these pieces is meant to hit a different audience, not a different audience in your ICA. It's within the group of your ICA, how they interpret and what gets them to keep reading. So the analytical, did you know that 7 out of 10 whiskey drinkers feel unsure about how to order whiskey at the bar? I'll break down a simple framework that gives you confidence to order whiskey like a seasoned connoisseur, backed by behavioral psychology, and industry insights. So that's the analytical person wants concrete information. The aspirational person, imagine stepping into a bar, scanning the whiskey list, and ordering like an expert without hesitation. This simple whiskey ordering blueprint will make you look like a pro, turning uncertainty into confidence in any setting. The actionable, struggling to order whiskey without second guessing yourself? Here's a foolproof way to get it right every time. In just a few minutes, I'll give you 3 easy steps that will instantly help you order whiskey with confidence. I will say I used to work on a show called The List. Most people will fall into actionable. They will fall into the other ones also, but people like lists and they like steps. It makes us feel accomplished. So if you don't know which one, I always try to do 2 of them out of this. But definitely the actionable one, I think most people are actionable along with another one. And then the anthropological. Why do some people seem to instinctively know how to order whiskey while others hesitate? We'll explore the history of whiskey, drinking rituals, social norms, and the cultural psychology behind ordering with confidence. That's it.
Bingo. That was really, really awesome. I'm sharing a link in the chat so I initially learned what I came to learn our Eve's prompts through Laurel Portier. And so I think at the time I only had those first 5. So I'm excited to get the prompt 6 and 7. But if you want to see another example, that's me going through Eve's prompts. And just one quick highlight for everyone before we go into the exclusive Q&A. There's one of the buzzwords or the catchphrases going around with AI right now is don't use AI for ideation, use it for acceleration. So Eve just showed you how you can accelerate the process of dialing in an ICA. I would, if you go through that link, you'll see that I'm actually ideating with AI as well. Like if the AI works better, the more you interact with it, the more feedback you give it. It's just like people do better when they're tight feedback loops. So, we just learned that something that Rebecca and I were in a program where Kylie Slavic took us through a ICA exercise, and I think it took me all like 48 hours at least, and to get a really bad one. And Eve did it in roughly 20 minutes. So this is really powerful stuff. I also, just for everyone, before we go into our Q&A, the next workshop, for those of you that that are coaches, consultants, freelancers, creatives that really do not like the fact that sometimes you have to act like a full-time digital marketer just to have the privilege of working with some clients from time to time. We're doing a workshop in a week from Saturday on the marketing system that we use inside the Solopreneur Success Circle, which is called Be a Blessing Marketing. And I'll show you how, using some of what Eve just showed you, along with some other ideas that I've developed, how I went from working 40 to 50 hours a week, just grinding out content and doing marketing stuff, to distilling that down to less than 5 hours a week. And so if you're interested, it's another free workshop. You're welcome to join us a week from Saturday. With that, there's all but 2 of you are here to talk to Eve in the exclusive Q&A and implementation session. So we're going to go into that session. If you are not signing up if you're not currently a member of the Solopreneur Success Circle and are not interested in signing up, then please just go ahead and see yourselves out the door, and we'll see everybody else here in just a minute.